Okay, gather around, ladies and gentlemen, because today it's story time. I'm going to talk about how I discovered the website newgrounds.com. Now, if you don't know what newgrounds.com is, it was basically before the YouTube before YouTube. You couldn't submit videos to it before, but you could submit these web movies called flash movies, and that's what you would submit. And it actually has a much better system for getting stuff submitted and getting stuff seen than YouTube ever did. Like you submit something to Newgrounds, people immediately look at it and they immediately judge it, and if it's bad enough, it won't get put up on the site. It'll get blammed. Like people vote on it as it's being submitted. And so it's a much better thing. I wish YouTube was more like that. YouTube would be much more fun if it was like that. If you were, if you had a certainty that someone was going to view your content, it would be much more interesting. It would be much more easy to make content. But whatever. I'm going to tell you how I discovered newgrounds.com because it was a long and arduous journey through all kinds of different websites. So we got to go back to the year 2002 when I had just discovered that Dragon Ball, the anime series that was like my favorite series of all time, well, it actually had been censored. It had been censored in the United States. Like there were certain episodes that were different. Like there was an episode where Goku tries to lie down on Bulma's crotch because he thinks that she has balls because he used to lie down on his grandpa's crotch as a pillow, on his grandpa's balls as a pillow. And I wanted to see that episode, but it wasn't available anywhere. So I went on an arduous, long search for Dragon Ball episodes to download. Now, this was 2002. This was the era when you search for anime episode downloads, all you really run into are these voting sites. There were these sites where it's like, okay, as long as all you have to do is vote us at the top of this site, at the top of this site, 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 and then we'll give you access to the episodes. And then they never actually give you access to the episode. They just have you vote. Um, it was just like, I mean, like, I can't even explain. I don't even know if you could find these websites anymore. Maybe not even in the Internet Archives. They were kind of illegal and weird. But, anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, you have to vote for these websites, and then then they just lead you to hentai. You just get to hentai. And I didn't want to watch hentai. I was a 12-year-old boy. I didn't care about hentai. I cared about seeing my uncensored Dragon Ball. And so I kept looking and looking and looking for a website that wasn't like this. But there were all these like top 100 sites or whatever. And you just look down at these websites where you can download anime, and none of them work. But then I found one that I thought might have worked. It was called the Kame House. And at the Kame House, if you don't know, is the house on the pink house on the island that Master Roshi lives in the Dragon Ball series and Dragon Ball Z series. It's kind of iconic, but if you haven't seen Dragon Ball, you wouldn't know. But yeah, it was called the Kame House, and I went there, and there was this different kind of app. There was this JavaScript app on the website where you sort of found the episodes in this database and you drag them over, and then you tried to download them. I tried to do that, but it didn't work. But at the Kame House website, it was actually more interesting than just Dragon Ball episodes. I was never able to get those Dragon Ball episodes, by the way. It was just impossible. Couldn't find it. I don't know how I watched them. Eventually, I watched them somewhere else. Probably just, I don't know, whenever they were actually officially uploaded or something. But anyways, at the Kame House, there was this cool little movies that you could watch that they would take video game characters and compete them against each other. Like they'd take the sprite of Mario and the sprite of Sonic and have them fight. And then like you could even choose, like it was interactive. You could even choose who wins and who loses, and there were different endings and all that. And it was really cool. And there was also this one where there's this short cartoon where Sonic just runs and runs and runs, and then he runs into a fan and then like explodes into like little chunks of Sonic. And there were a bunch of other ones like that. And I found out slowly through time that these weren't actually originated. They didn't actually originate from the Kame House. They originated from another website. So I found a link to that website. It was called Video Game VGDC.com. That is Video Game Director's Cuts. So basically, yeah, they would just take the video game sprites from all video games and make a Flash cartoon with them that was somewhat funny sometimes, whether people would fight or they'd do something funny or, that kind of stuff. And so I watched cartoons on there. And then, well, one of the links on one of the cartoons led to this website that had like this tank. There's a yellow people. The yellow background and this white tank, and then like there's two people inside of the tank. And I was like, why I don't want to go to this website. What's this? It doesn't have no Flash. There's no way to press play here. So I just kind of ran away from it. But eventually, I actually clicked and looked around on Newgrounds.com and found out that there was and found out that it was actually a much bigger, much wider a range of Flash on Newgrounds. It was a much bigger website, had much cooler stuff. And so then I just went on Newgrounds, and I actually didn't explore it the way that I think you're supposed to necessarily, because when you're on Newgrounds, basically all you have to do is go to the front page, the front portal, and then you can see all the newest Flash, and you can see all the most popular Flash, all the latest Flash. And if you go to the front page of Newgrounds, there's all of the owner's recommendations. Like Tom Fulp is the guy who created Newgrounds, and sometimes he would recommend Flash that he liked on the front page. And but I never did that because I didn't. I guess I was just different. I don't know. All I did, I would just go to the search bar and search for like my favorite movie or cartoon or whatever. Like I'd search Lord of the Rings and then just watch whatever came up. And there were some, funny things. There was one where Gandalf takes out his staff and it turns out to be a rifle, and he just shoots all of the hobbits in Hobbiton, and then he takes the ring from Bilbo and then he flushes it down the toilet. I mean, it's not really that funny now, but back in the day, that was good stuff. There was this, and then I'd search for other things too. I searched for Terminator 2, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and then there was this weird sprite cartoon with, it was like, with like WrestleMania characters. Like their heads were attached to sprites, and it was basically they were just repeating the story of Terminator 2, but with those characters and with some jokes in it. That was fun to watch. And then there's a bunch of stuff. There was a bunch of Dragon Ball Z cartoons that were funny. There was this one called Is That Okay?, which was basically they re-edited the dub voice of Tien from Dragon Ball to keep on saying. Wait a minute. They re-edited him to keep on saying, as a matter of fact, it isn't. So the way it went originally was Vegeta said something like, is that okay? He said something mean and then said, is that okay? And then he said, as a matter of fact, it isn't. But they re-edited to have him just say, as a matter of fact, it isn't, to every single thing that everybody said. And eventually Vegeta gets really mad and he shoots them with a final blast. It's funny. It was good stuff. So that's how I discovered Newgrounds. I tried to search for Dragon Ball episodes, couldn't find them, found Flash, and then found Newgrounds eventually. I actually submitted my first Flash to Newgrounds way back in 2005. I created an account, and this was before I knew about blamming. And so I showed it to all my friends. I was like, look, I submitted a Flash. And basically what it was is like I took MS Paint, I drew some stick figures, and had them fight for like 5 seconds. And then I tried searching for it later and then found out that it was blammed. It was dead. And I didn't know about that. And that was fun. And great. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. I'm dead and bored. I don't know. What's going on? Why am I talking about Newgrounds.com? Newgrounds.com is not even a relevant website anymore. People don't go to Newgrounds.com. They go to YouTube.com. They go to Tumblr.com. They go to Twitter.com. No one going to Newgrounds.com. I look at that website. Tom is actually looking for donations at that website to keep it running. Oh, man. But Newgrounds was the best. Newgrounds was... I really wish YouTube was more like Newgrounds because it would make it... Because the way YouTube is right now, you can make a video about something, if it's about like a TV series or about a YouTuber or about something like that, people will be able to find it. But if you want to make a YouTube video that is original and unique, they're not going to allow you to do that. There's no way it's going to get found by anybody. But on Newgrounds, every single thing that was made was viewed by people because there was an incentive for people to vote on these cartoons. They got like levels and badges and stuff, and it was cool. I wanted to get to a certain level because like the first level you start with is you start with this the your icon is like a hand holding a lollipop, and that's like just pathetic. And then there's another one where it's just a fist, and then there's another one where you have like iron knuckles, and then it goes to guns, and then it goes to uh chainmail, I don't know, nunchucks, all kinds of stuff. And there's all different levels, and I wanted to get to a higher level, but I never really got higher than the fist because it you have to vote on a lot of things, and you can only vote on 5 things a day, and blah 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 blah. Whatever. Newgrounds.com was cool, and I guess this is the end of the story. So see you guys next time.